Thing going.
All right, if I could have everybody's attention, we'll call our February board meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. Kind of a small crowd tonight.
We have a lot at parent-teacher conferences in 3 different buildings.
There you go. Quite a few cars out in here, matter of fact.
This is one of the buildings.
Yes, it is. Celebrations tonight?
Our celebration, we have one, and that is our district report.
Or are we doing the district?
District
I'm sorry.
report.
Get out of order.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the District Report. I'm your host, Adam Kennedy, and to start... Start off 2020, we're going to be looking at a couple of high school seniors to see what exactly is running through their minds as they're going towards the end of their high school career. With more on this story, here is Alex Dabbs.
Thanks, Adam. Today I'm here with 2 CTE completers at valedictorian to tell you guys how Silent Springs High School has helped them achieve their dreams.
What inspired me, honestly, is I just feel like that profession in itself is, scholarly type profession that, really focuses on the mind instead of the labors of the body.
What inspired me to join CAS is knowing that I can get a job straight out of high school doing industrial maintenance, HVAC, plumbing, welding.
Valedictorian, it's affected me because it's a really good thing to put on scholarships and resumes and stuff like that.
Miss Tim's CMA class, that gets me certified for to be a medical assistant, phlebotomist, certified in CPR, and super cool like that.
This is my 2nd year in CAS. We've been getting certifications such as OSHA, and we did NCCER certifications. This April, we will be getting our forklift certification.
I have worked towards being valedictorian by taking challenging classes throughout my high school. Even starting in my freshman year, I took the pre-AP classes that not everybody else is taking.
This program has helped me with my career that I want to take because we do a lot of maintenance stuff. Mr. Wyatt goes through a bunch of troubleshooting stuff. We got to mess with the robot, the ABB robot we have, and put in programs.
I would definitely encourage everyone else in the school to be a hard worker in all of their classes. It's about learning how to be a hard worker, because no matter what you do after high school, whether it's college or the military or just going into a career, everyone needs to know how to be a hard worker. So I would definitely encourage everyone to just, in whatever they're doing, whatever their plans are, to just be a hard worker in everything they do.
Now, as you can see, everyone is just one step closer to achieving their dreams here at Silent Springs High School. Back to you, Adam.
Thanks, Alex. Coming up next here at the high school, there are 2 office secretaries that have worked together for a very long time. With more on this story, here's Daniela Martinez.
Thank you, Adam. My name is Daniela Martinez here with the District Report. We are here at the Silent Springs High School interviewing Ann and Cheryl over their positions.
We answer the phones. We get kids from class. We deliver messages to teachers. We let everybody that comes in the school, we have to click them in, as you can hear.
I get the guest teachers that we have in our building for that day. I make a list for the custodians so that they can go open the doors and unlock the doors, and then I do the daily announcements and then help students that come in, do phone calls, do the door, open the door, the buzzer, there it goes again.
We just kind of take care of the public, actually, and the kids.
We get to be encouraged by them, and we get to encourage them.
Thank you, Ann and Cheryl, for your time. Anyways, back to you, Adam.
Thanks, Daniela. For our final story, we thought it would be very fitting to remember Martin Luther King Jr., since Martin Luther King Jr. Day is an iconic day that we celebrate in the month of January. Now, I can sit here and tell you all about Martin Luther King and all the great things that he did for this country. But we thought, why would you hear it from me? So we went around the school district and interviewed a couple of kids to see their thoughts about Martin Luther King Jr. With more on this story, here's Joshua Robinson.
Thanks, Adam. We are joined here today with some students from the Silent Springs Intermediate School and Middle School to talk about Martin Luther King Jr. and his impact.
Martin Luther King Jr. to me is a very fair person who cares about civil rights and feels that everybody should be treated equally, and not that some people are above people and that all people are the exact same.
Now, I don't know much. I can say this. One of his most famous acts. His I Have Dreams speech for civil rights.
Well, he stood up for what he believed in, which was a big impact because it helped people show how important it was to people that black people were equal to whites.
I think Martin Luther King Jr. was a person who risked his passage of freedom in order to let other people have freedom. So I think he was a person who was willing to make other people's lives better, not just himself.
Thank you to them wonderful students. Back to you, Adam.
Thanks, Josh. And a special thank you to Martin Luther King Jr. for all that you did and sacrificed for this country. Well, that's all we have for you guys for this segment. Thank you so much for watching the District Report. I'm your host, Adam Kennedy, and we'll see you next month.
We had a couple of celebrations we were going to do tonight, but realized we had parent-teacher conferences at the buildings that were going to present those.
Oh.
So we have postponed those
I see.
until a later date.
Okay. So we shall move on.
We shall move on.
Okay. And I apologize tonight ahead of time. I'll be fumbling around. I put the wrong contacts in my eyes this morning, so we're doing glasses and we're doing this and that, and who knows what's going to happen. So, comments from patrons?
Not even tonight.
All right, thank you. Bambi, let the minutes show that we have an established quorum and 100% attendance again. Thank you very much. First item is to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of January 9th and the special board meeting of January 31st.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Jump to reports, and Mr. Wiggins.
Got a couple of things I'd like to report on tonight. First, we had talked about, and you all had approved, a possible bond sale. On February the 4th, I went to Little Rock and went to First Security, Cruz and Associates building down there for the bond sale. And it was very educational for me. I was very interested in how it worked, but got very good news. We had put up $41,985,000 worth of bonds for a reissue, and had 7 bids on them, and we were pleasantly surprised. Wells Fargo put in the low bid of 2.1970007%, and over the next 20 years, that's going to save our district approximately $4.7 million. And so we'll have some action items later in the agenda that you all will approve to make all that official. But very good experience and very good news for us going forward. So that was the first thing. Second item.
That needs applause.
Second item, since we are going to save quite a bit of that money this school year, we will probably end the school year with an excess, and we will put a lot of that into our building fund because we can only carry over so much money each year. And when we put it over into the building fund, we will have to determine projects and label that certain amounts for different projects. So at some point in the next couple of weeks, I would like to be able to pull you all together in a special meeting / work session to kind of go over some options and present to you what we think we might could do with some of that and get your feedback and direction. So Bambi will be reaching out to try to arrange a date for all of us to get together to do that. That concludes my report.
Is that it?
That's it.
Amy? Maybe.
Well, it's great to be back.
Welcome back.
I know, yeah. So tonight I wanted to talk to, well, the group. We kind of have a full house. We are looking at math curriculum and how we can better assist our teachers with instructing math. We did a survey back in December, and one of the pieces of information that came across was the K-5 teachers were asking for curriculum resources. What could we do? We already have illustrative math curriculum in our 6th through high school. Right now that's through Algebra 1, and already planned prior to my arrival to roll that into geometry and Algebra 2. So we gathered from the K-5 buildings a group of around 25 to 27 teachers and created a math advisory panel. And the group got together. We spent a day analyzing the illustrative math for K-5, and through that determined that yes, that's a route we want to pursue. There are several steps, so it's not final, it's not all, but it's in the works so that we can support our teachers and provide them the materials and resources they're asking for, but also make sure that what we're selecting is going to be appropriate for what we need. And so through the math panel, the group worked that day. We analyzed the curriculum pieces. There are narratives that kind of give teachers background knowledge on what those skills are or how to better address those. It also comes with math center or station activities, small group kinds of lessons that teachers would also be able to utilize. And so through all of that, that's our route that we're moving toward. I'm working with the representative, her name is Barb, I can't remember her last name, but working with her, trying to figure out what our next best steps are. It will require teachers to have some training, which if we provide them something, we want to also provide them the training opportunity. And so we do have that scheduled in July. And so that'll be 2 days for teachers to get together, and they will send representatives to our district to do that training. So that's just kind of a short snippet of it, but as we move forward and kind of gather more information, some of it's still in the pilot phase, and so they're between pilot alpha and pilot beta, so the second pilot, and so they're still trying to, I guess, maneuver where they're going to land and make those things final. So, any questions?
How many different programs do you look at? Like when you come into one, are you looking at 4 or 5? How?
Well, there are not that many. So what we looked at from the survey, there were numerous ones that teachers mentioned they use. Some of them are not official curriculums. They're just from different websites and locations that teachers can find. So for us, we didn't pull in 4 or 5 different vendors because we already had illustrative math in our 6 through above. That's why we wanted to look at the K-5, because that will provide us a vertical alignment K through high school. And so that's where, through things like teacher pay teachers and different resources, we wanted to kind of streamline what teachers were going to be presenting.
And this goes along with the training that the ADE or DESE is now doing?
Yes, illustrative math is in alignment with Quest, which is what you're mentioning. So Quest is kind of the math version of RISE, and I'm sure you've heard about RISE. We've talked about that before, and I know before I got here you talked about RISE. So RISE is the theory and practice behind literacy. QUEST is the theory and practice behind math, and what does that look like? So illustrative math has a strong alignment with that, with the research and the theory about letting kids investigate math practices and then moving them toward investigating, small group, and then independently. So it's not about procedures like a lot of us were taught. Here's a formula, go solve your math problem. It's about the conceptual thought behind it and then moving toward, now you understand the concept, here's your formula to go with it. Anything else? No?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right.
For my part. I get to listen to Shane.
Well, I do. And we look forward to it.
He has a lot more.
So sorry I missed the lunch today. I know you guys got a tour of our new track facility and saw the progress that's being made over there. We are diligently trying to work around the weather to finish the fencing and some grading issues that we have, but we hope to get some conclusion on some of that stuff really soon. But the track itself is completely finished. We have a new gate being in the process of being built. We have the fencing, the bathrooms, and all that stuff. But our track kids are using the facility daily. JVU's track team is using the facility daily. If you go by there, I know Mr. Lamb and I have had a discussion at 6:30 in the morning. You can see the lights on, and they're out there running. And so they
550.
That is true. That is true. And also, they're doing that's coming along really good. At Northside, we moved with lightning speed, and now we're waiting on a door frame, which I just got off the phone with the contractor about an hour ago, and we are looking to have that on site tomorrow by 9 a.m. so that we can start continuing that process and all. And we are still looking good on our move-in date of somewhere the week before spring break, depending upon, our goal is to start that Friday before spring break moving in, and we still, even with the delays on our door frame, we feel like we're still well within that time frame and all. At this time, I would like to bring up Steve Avery, and also at this time, I'd like to introduce Todd, our new assistant transportation director, and let him give us our report on our transportation. And Steve has assured me that he will be less than 3 minutes tonight.
I told him I can't say hello in 3 minutes. I won't need these because work that magic. All right. We've had a good year in transportation so far, and we have no intentions of it changing between now and May 24th. But we've had some personnel changes in key positions. Todd Weinsberg's doing a great job, stepped in. David Hudson retired on us. I actually kept him a semester longer than he intended. All right. Kind of give you guys that hadn't been on the board that long an idea of kind of our fact sheet. We're 152 square miles. We drive 1,300 route miles daily. That doesn't include field trips and ball games and all of that. That is just routes. We now have 30 regular AM and PM routes, 4 special needs routes, 3 regular PM only routes. That's primarily athletic shuttle and boys and girls club, and there's our average numbers. These numbers are that much higher because of boys and girls club in the afternoon. And a lot of parents bring their children to school, but in the afternoons, it's not in that window of, after 5, thank goodness. So, kind of give you an idea of personnel. We have the ones in red are where we've added additional staff or routes this fall. You guys approved all this, whether you know it or not, but I was told 2.5 technicians / mechanics. We've hired somebody to come in at 1:30 every day and stay and close. When I first started here, we had 25 routes. That included all the AM and PM routes and our special needs. We have now grown to 37 routes, if you count PM and all of that. And we had 2 technicians when I first got here, and we still had 2 technicians until January of this year. So we've added all those bus numbers, and we finally got in a spot where we could hire some additional shop help. We had to add a route this fall just through growth, and I'm way past 3 minutes already. Kind of gives you an idea of our fleet. We bought 1 gas minibus this fall. Mr. Patrick was nice enough to allow us to get that, and it has been utilized like you would not believe. Went to Arkadelphia last week with some band kids, and I mean, it is going all the time. And because it's a minibus, any teacher can drive that with a good driving record. So I take them for a spin around the block and make sure they're safe with it and understand how everything works. And then, so we have a total of 50 buses. One thing that's also changed in our bus conduct, we added a step in here. It's been, last year was our first year, wasn't it, Mr. Wiggins? I think.
I think it was a couple of years ago. But
yeah, but anyway, we added a step in our bus conduct form that we thought, and that's helped a great deal in doing that. And this is what happens when you ask a group of kindergartners, if you raise your hand if you're tired of hearing the bald fat guy talk. That's a reaction you get from kindergarten students. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer. All right.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
It said 1 activity bus. I was thinking that we had, do we not have 2 activity buses?
No, sir. We've got that 1 activity bus. That is our 47-passenger short bus with the Panthers on the side.
Okay, so, but didn't, we got a couple with storage underneath to take on.
Yes, sir, but
Okay.
those are regular route buses that also serve as our activity buses.
Okay.
We actually have 4 of those buses with AC under storage compartments and all that for travel. And when it's above 70 degrees, we send all of our teams and travel in those as well. So, any other questions? All right. Thank you.
So,
Appreciate you.
I want to thank Mr. Avery and his staff. They do a wonderful job. I want to brag on them just real quick. Is we had the day when we were in the middle of dismissal of school, and we get all those buses pulled up, or about to pull up. Some of them are there, some of them are on their way to intermediate, and the tornado sirens go off. And we had to unload every child that was on those buses. So that's all kindergarten, all middle school kids had to get off at intermediate. And Southside, excuse me, and Southside. We had to get them all off intermediate in the driving rain. Inside, locked down. We had a bunch of administrators that showed up that didn't have to. Every bus driver made sure their kids got off that bus and got inside that school safe. And everybody went above and beyond that day. Randall was there. Jason Carter from Food Services showed up. Our SPED people were there. We had a bus at high school that they went out and got those kids off that bus. I just really want to brag on how that went, because that could have been a really bad thing. Just even if there was no tornado, which there ended up not having that day and through the middle of town, but just the fiasco of trying to unload 30 plus buses, how they handled that, they did a wonderful job, and I want to brag on our transportation department. They did an excellent job with that, and very, very appreciative. Okay, so tonight I want to introduce our SROs. If I could have all our police officers. We are very, very, very happy to have such a wonderful group of SROs in our schools, and we've made a few changes. Our police department has made some assignment changes this year, and they've really, really adapted and done a good job. So Jeff Bland is at the high school, and he's over all of our SROs there on the campus, and he's there every day. They have moved James Cooley. He's now at the high school. He used to be at some of our elementary schools. Joshua Fritz, who used to be at the high school, is now at middle school. David Humphreys is still at Allen and intermediate, doing a wonderful job. And we actually get DeAndre Strickland back to the district. We're excited about that. I've heard lots of wonderful things about her. And so she is working with us at Northside and Southside. And we couldn't have the safety in our school district without these folks right here. They do a wonderful job, not only keeping us safe, but they work with kids every day. I'm in and out of buildings, and I've seen it firsthand, and it doesn't matter what age group, whether it's our chess club, I think Officer Humphreys has, down at intermediate, and all the way up to the high school. They're in those hallways talking to kids, and they do a wonderful job for our district, and we're very, very happy to have this partnership. And I think Mr. Spicer in the back, he is over all of these guys directly. And then also, we have our new chief with us tonight. Chief Alan Gilbert is come to us from Mississippi, and we are so excited. I've had a couple of conversations with him, and we are just really, really excited to have him on board. And I know he has already expressed to me how he feels about SRO program and how important he feels they are, and we're looking forward to continuing our partnership with the city and the police department with our SRO program. So I'd like to give everybody a round of applause. Do you want to say anything?
No, we appreciate the chance to get in here and work with kids and all the support that we get from you guys. I know there's places where relationships aren't as good as we have here. It's just a great community to be in and work in, and a great school district to work with, and we love being here. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you so much.
Chief, would you like to say anything?
No, just proud to be here, proud to be a part of this city and part of this family. And I started our SRO program in Mississippi in 1999, so this is something that's very, very important to me, safety of our children. So just looking forward to working with you, and please reach out to me if you need me, or if I can help, or come out and speak, whatever I can do to help the community.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Unless anybody has any questions of anything I covered, I think that completes my report.
Thank you.
I failed to mention in our celebrations about our visit here today. Thank you very much. Had a great meal again, and was it Low Brass Jazz Ensemble? Is that what we call that, or whatever it was? And the choir sang to us, and yeah, it was great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We got to test our archery skills.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, we did archery. Yeah. Of course, I think maybe Connie. Who won out of
Dr. Matchell is
did
an
you?
ace with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, a lot of fun. That's a neat program too. That's really cool. All right, we'll move to action items unless somebody else wants to comment about our visit real quick. We're rolling through so fast. No? Okay. Action items, we need to approve the January financials.
Nothing really extraordinary again this month, which is a good thing, just so you know. If you look to your first graph, I can tell you that we have finally pulled ahead to where we have brought in more tax dollars in January than we have this time last January. We are actually $157,000 ahead of where we were at this time last year. So while we were under in December for the first half of the year, we have made up ground in January. Everybody just paid them late for whatever reason. So that's good news. Very good news. Our salary and benefits for this month were $2.2 million, which was 84% of the entire expenditure budget this month. That's pretty typical. We spent $2.68 million in total, so 84% of that is going all into our faculty and staff, and that's exciting to me that we were able to do that. I think that's really about all. I'm looking forward to spending some bond refinancing money next year. Do you have any questions?
No. No. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any motion?
Move that we approve the financials.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? District calendar for 2021.
This would normally be Kelly presenting this, but tonight it's going to be me. Kelly had prior engagements this evening, but Kelly's done all the work, so I'm going to present Kelly's work to you all. Just some reminders. This is the calendar for next year that we are going to ask you to approve, and just some reminders about the parameters that we have to work under. 178 student contact days, 2 parent conference days built in, 10 professional development days by law built in. We have to build in 5 inclement weather days so that if we get bad weather and cancel school, we have days already built in that we can shift those days to. Spring break as designated by the state, which matches up with AAA calendar week 38. We like the semester to end before Christmas. That's not a requirement, but that's something that we shoot for. Not supposed to start earlier than August 14th. You're supposed to start on the Monday of the week of the 19th, no earlier than the 14th. However, we have a waiver from the state that allows us to start as early as the 13th, and we have that waiver for 2 more years. So that will be reflected in the calendar presented. After, when it comes calendar time, Kelly takes the old calendar, kind of lays it on the new year and where everything falls, and however it falls on this current or this next year's calendar with the same days built in like we did this year, that becomes an option for the following year, and we call that calendar option A. And then she takes feedback from previous years, feedback from this year, and tries to build a couple alternatives to present to our PPCs. And so they usually get a calendar A, B, C, sometimes a D, and they give feedback on which ones they prefer. And then we bring that to you all, and that's what we are doing tonight. And here representing our certified and classified PPCs are Lori Boyd and Julie Kelly. And I think I'm presenting calendar C this evening, although it doesn't say that in your documents. But calendar C is what both PPCs gave feedback. So would either of you like to say anything about that?
Well, the reason that we chose classified PPC more than I think certified too was that they really liked being off on Thanksgiving. That was kind of the consensus among all the staff that visited with. So that was what a little bit different.
So in this calendar, we actually, our kids did not go to school this year, the week of Thanksgiving at all. Some of our teachers and some of our employees did work because we had flex days built in there. If they'd earned PD days, flex PD, then they didn't come in those days. Some did have to. So this, I think, calendar C, we have that whole week off, no matter what. So that's the one advantage, one of the advantages to it. So anyway, I present this to you all as a recommendation to approve this calendar for next year and have the support of both PPCs.
Motion to approve calendar for next year?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Facilities agreement.
Turn that over to Shane.
So I think this is not a renewal, but it's a new contract, but it's the same contract that we basically had with Eliza Jones that comes and helps us prepare and submit all of our facility plans with the state each and every year. It's based on the 6 years facility master plan. On even years, we have to make a submission. On odd years, we make some additions or updates, and then she helps us with all of our partnership applications and agreements, and then she comes to board meetings and helps answer questions for you guys. And so I would recommend that we continue this partnership, and we feel like in the administration side of things that we feel like it greatly benefits our district, and we'd ask that you approve this.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Quick question.
Sure.
Fee
Three-
structure, is it?
It's a solid,
Same as it
it's
has
the
been?
same, it has not increased at all, it's $3,000 for the year, and that has been the same for the last, my understanding is the last several years.
Yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. A memorandum of understanding.
This is mine. This, I'm not sure how concise I can be in fully describing what this is about, but I'm going to try to do it in a concise way. We have the responsibility as a school district to provide special education, or students that would be under IDEA, special education. We have to provide services at the age of 3 all the way through graduation. And so the early years before kindergarten are a little bit of a challenge, especially if they're not in our pre-K. And so every school district in Northwest Arkansas for a number of years has contracted with Northwest Arkansas Education Service Co-op in Farmington. And the co-op actually has hired the people that serve the 3- and 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds that are not quite in school yet. And so if they're in our pre-K, they actually come to our pre-K and work with those students alongside our pre-K teachers. If they're not in our pre-K, they serve them in other ways, whether it's at the Elizabeth Richardson Center or one of the other pre-Ks in town, okay? So if they live in our district, they're our responsibility. And so we have contracted with the co-op for a long period of time, just like every other district in Northwest Arkansas, to provide those services. So some things have changed recently. The state has changed some guidelines on who qualifies for that, and suddenly our numbers are going to explode. And at the same time, we have not had funding increase for that program for a number of years. And so this next year, we have been paying $700 and something per child to the co-op to provide those services for every child in our district. Now, that's not the cost. The cost is much more than that. But they've gotten federal and state reimbursement for everything else, and it's come directly to them. So our cost was $700 and something a child. Not only did they change requirements, and there's going to be quite a few more kids, same dollar amount, but there's also been a change made where the dollars are not going to go to the co-op any longer. They're going to come, all the federal and state dollars are going to come to the district. So for the next year, this next year, we're going to have to turn and either provide those services ourselves, which as a co-op group, all the districts decided we did not want to do that. We wanted the co-op to still provide those services. So our other option is to take that money and be a pass-through agent and send the money that the co-op used to get back to them. So our cost is going to go from $700 to more than that, just for the fact that we're going to have money coming in from state and federal for those same children now, and it's going to be passed through. But because we have so many more students that are going to qualify and the same dollar amount coming from the state, our actual expense is going to go up as well. So this MOU outlines it. I've got 3 pages worth of math where Dr. Cudney has shown all of the calculations, and bottom line, I'm going to try to get to the bottom line. I'm going to take my glasses off, Brian. The bottom line, instead of the $756 that we were paying, our out-of-pocket costs are going to go up $492 and our per child, and our out-of-pocket costs are going to be $1,248. And then our total cost, including state and federal money that we will be getting from now on, is going to be $3,618 per child. So that's what's written into the MOU. But we will get, there's $1,248 that we're going to have to pay out of pocket, and the rest of it, around $2,400, is going to come from state and federal. I'm going to ask you to approve this, but before I get to that point, I told you those amounts. Dr. Cudney has been instrumental at our co-op in challenging the process through the state, and the fact that the rules have changed and they haven't appropriated any more money. So there was another $1 million that has been approved this year already. And then there's a proposal for $3 million additional money statewide next year. If that goes through, then our MOU, that amount may change. But the way this MOU is written, he's got to plan his budget so that he can hire staff to provide services. So he's got that dollar amount built in there, and it's also built into the MOU that if the co-op ends up with $100,000 or more at the end of the year from the districts in that account that they did not spend, then they're going to reappropriate everything over $100,000 back to the districts on a per child basis. So if we spend more than we actually had to because of new appropriations, we're going to get that money back. You have any questions on all of that? Okay. I would recommend that we approve this MOU and allow the co-op to continue providing those services for us.
Move that we approve the MOU with the co-op to provide services for our pre-K kids, special ed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Interesting.
You have the resolution for the
Yes.
refunded bonds?
So I talked a little bit about the bonds in my report. In your packet, there's the actual breakdown of the savings over the 20 years. And I believe it's on the 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's on the 6th page of your your piece in your packet. The heading is Siloam Springs School District Debt Service Comparison. And it goes out 20 years, and the far right column says fiscal total. And that is the amount of savings that this bond reissue or resale is going to save the district over the next 20 years. And it's broken down for each year. And what happens, the bonds that we have sold, some of them come due each year. And the company that has bought those bonds now makes most of their profit in the first year or two. And so they can help us in that first year or two more than they can later. And we would rather get the money up front than string it out. But there's a little bit of savings at every bond sale over the next 20 years that they sell. And so this current year, we basically are not going to have a bond payment.
We will have one small bond payment rather than three large ones.
Right. So you can see there, we will save $2,158,063 this current school year. Next year, $341,000, and then so on and so forth. And so for the next 18 years, it ranges anywhere from $107,000 to $137,000 each year that we would have had to have paid on a bond payment that now we don't have to pay. So that money that I mentioned earlier, it's not like somebody's writing us a check for that. It is actually us saving it. It's like refinancing your house. Our payments are going down. So there's a motion that Scott Beardsley would have been here tonight. He had a prior trip planned, but didn't want to ask you all to come on a different night and him to come up just for this. But he's provided us a motion here, and I would recommend that we accept that or pass this.
Motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the issuance and delivery of the $41,985,000 Siloam Springs School District number 21 of Benton County, Arkansas, refunding bonds dated March 1st, 2020, and other documents pertaining thereto as prepared by the Friday Eldridge and Clark Law Firm.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Just a quick comment we need to thank him for the foresight of doing that, and then for you getting involved in it and getting it happening. That's great. Hit a home run on that one.
And I will say, I don't know a whole lot about the bond market, but after he came and talked to us in the fall, I started trying to follow it. And the week before and the week that we did this, they were at an all-time low, which is good news for us. Bond interest rates for municipal bonds had hit an all-time low. And so I don't know where it's gone from there, but at the time it was very, very, very good.
Timing, yeah.
Yes, it's good.
Very fortunate. Okay.
And the next item is also from Beardsley, and it is they have to do a disclosure to anyone they're working with, and there were some things added to that from the federal government. And so this is a new disclosure dissemination agreement that's attached. And we have done this previously, but with some additional information that the feds required them to add. He asked that we redo our disclosure dissemination agreement. And he's got a suggested motion there.
I move that we adopt the attached continuing disclosure dissemination agreement from Beardsley.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And now we have to employ a financial advisor. Isn't that
Okay.
coincidental?
And by law, we have to have somebody representing us in financial matters and bonds. And so we have been with Beardsley for quite a while, and he reminded me that it was probably time to renew that agreement. This contract does not cost us anything unless we do business with them, unless we have a bond issue that they're doing for us, and then it's a standard rate that comes off of that. So this is basically just saying we're going to continue working with them for 3 years, and I would recommend that we do that.
So a motion to employ
appoint First Security Beardsley as financial advisor for a period of 3 years, effective as of the date of adoption.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Just a quick comment about that, you know, they've been very good to work with and very helpful for our district and had a great working relationship with them. Well, I appreciate what they do for us. At one point, sometime years and years ago, before many of you were here, we looked at, do you remember that?
Switching?
Yeah, we invited different companies in and First Security was the one that we went with, and as far as I'm concerned, it's been great working relationship ever since.
And he's been very good to come up and provide training to our board and to our administrators on school finance, and he does a very good job. I appreciate it.
Well, that brings us to executive session for, let's see, all kinds of stuff. Looks like hiring and resignations. So, we'll excuse ourselves and try to be brief. All right, we'll call ourselves back into open session. Renewal of assistant superintendent contract.
I'd like to recommend that we renew Amy Carter's as assistant superintendent for the next school year. Amy's done a very good job this year in her first year in our district. We have been focused on, she has been focused on getting our instructional facilitators, which we now call coaches, instructional coaches trained in student-centered coaching, and doing coaching cycles with individual teachers to improve teaching strategies. So that's been a year-long process. And getting our teachers continuing with science of reading training for all of our teachers, and getting our principals trained as assessors for science of reading. So she's been leading that and being in the buildings. And we have had a focus this year of our central office staff regularly being in each building and having a set schedule of going in and visiting with our building level administrators. And I appreciate all that she's done this year. She's been a good leader for us. And I ask that you renew her contract for next year.
Motion to approve Amy Carter as assistant superintendent for 2020 to 2021 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you. Resignations.
I don't want to tell you about either one of these.
Well, let's just skip them then.
I tried to turn one down today and she wouldn't have it. I have two resignations to announce. First one is a instructional coach, Rebecca DeFries, that works between Southside Elementary and the intermediate school. Becky has been in education for 45 years. And I think she looks like she's 45 years old, so I think she spent her whole life teaching. But she has done a fantastic job with us for a long period of time. I think Bambi told me she'd come here in '91, so that's 29 years in our district. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate her and value her. She has been somebody that I've called upon to be in very important hiring committees because I value her judgment and her demeanor, and so she will be greatly missed. And the second is Leslie Moore, our ESL director, and I told her she had to be here tonight if I was presenting this. Leslie has also been very, very good for us. She has been in education 30 years. And I don't know what year you came here, Leslie. 96. Leslie has done a very good job with our ESL program, and we are looked to as leaders, not only in the region for our ESL program, but across the state. And Leslie is very well respected in district and out of district. And Leslie is a very quiet and reserved person, She doesn't say much in public groups, but when she does, you know it's important and it's valuable. And she'll speak her mind one-on-one, and that's always good. But I appreciate everything Leslie's done for our district, and Leslie, thank you very much.
And I would say too, she was our first ESL director. So she really created, and that was at a time when ESL was not a buzzword popular thing. And so she really has set the framework and the foundation for our ESL program, and I appreciate that greatly.
How many ESL students do we have today?
800.
How many did we have when you started? How many did we have?
Really?
And Becky is also, I would say too, she is amazing. One of our first instructional facilitators or coaches, and has really been a go-to person for that.
Yes. So I reluctantly asked you to approve these two retirements. They were both retired.
I move that we approve these two retirements. You can join me in May.
There you go.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hire licensed staff.
None at this time.
Emergency sick leave.
Have one emergency sick leave, and Peggy Cummings, we looked over that today. She qualifies by our policy and procedures, and I recommend that you approve that.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Student transfers.
None in.
Okay.
Student transfers out. We have 4 requesting transfer to Springdale, which they have been attending Springdale already, and due to a family issue, had to move out here, but they would like to continue in Springdale. Presley LaBeouf, age 10, Bailey LaBeouf, 12, Caden LaBeouf, 15, and Madison LaBeouf, 18. We have 1 request to transfer to Fayetteville, Genevieve Crafton, 14. I believe she is going to the virtual school there. And then 1 to Gentry, Lucas Remington Parker, age 5. And I believe he has actually not started kindergarten yet. That would be for next year. I recommend that we approve all 6 of these.
Motion to approve transfers?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Other business?
Just want to remind you, Bambi will be contacting you, trying to set up a time to do our, like a work session, special board meeting. And we do have 1 classified resignation that you all don't have to act on, but I want to let you know. Ramona Fort has resigned as a food service person. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
That
Second.
was quick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.